The crystal spires of Vexera gleamed like diamonds against the purple sky. King Taman stood on his palace balcony, watching the alien ships approach his world. The human vessels looked crude and ugly compared to his own fleet. They moved slowly through space like sick animals, their metal hulls scarred and patched from long journeys. "Your Majesty," called his advisor, Borm, from behind him. "The human delegation has requested permission to land." Taman turned away from the window. His golden robe swept the polished floor as he walked to his throne. The massive chair was carved from a single piece of starlight crystal, a material that could cut through any known metal. It reminded everyone who entered his throne room that the Vexeran Empire commanded power beyond human understanding. "Let them come," he said, settling into his seat. "But make sure our guards are present. We must show these primitives proper respect for civilization." 3 hours later, the human shuttle landed in the royal courtyard. Taman watched through his viewing screen as the airlock opened. He expected to see creatures barely above animals, like the stories his scouts had told him. Instead, a tall man in a clean uniform stepped out. The human moved with confidence, his dark eyes taking in everything around him without fear. "That is their captain," Bjorn whispered. "His name is Ginwu. According to our intelligence." Taman studied the human leader. Jinwu was younger than expected, perhaps 40 standard years. His black hair was cut short in a military style. Most interesting was his expression. The human showed no signs of being overwhelmed by Vexeran technology or architecture. He simply observed everything. With calm intelligence, "Bring him to the throne room," Taman ordered, "and summon Princess Nari. It is time to discuss our generous offer." Princess Nari waited in her chambers, staring at her reflection in the mirror. At 28, she was considered old by Vexeran standards for an unmarried female. Her silver hair fell to her shoulders, and her pale blue skin marked her as pure-blooded nobility. Yet none of these things mattered anymore. Princess, her servant Youngji, spoke softly from the doorway. "Your father requests your presence in the throne room." Nari stood slowly. She knew what this meeting meant. For 3 years, the royal doctors had tried every treatment known to Vexeran science. Every test confirmed the same terrible truth. She could never bear children. In their society, a female who could not produce offspring was worthless, even a princess. "Tell me," Youngji, Nari said as they walked through the crystal corridors. "What do you know about humans?" The servant looked surprised. "Very little, Princess. They are a young species, primitive but expanding rapidly through space. Some say they are dangerous because they adapt quickly to new situations." "Dangerous," Nari repeated thoughtfully, "or perhaps just different." The throne room filled with tension as Jinwu entered. 20 Vexeran guards stood at attention, their energy weapons clearly visible. The human captain walked forward alone, his small delegation remaining near the entrance. He stopped at the proper distance and gave a respectful bow. "King Taman," Jinwu said, in accented but clear Vexeran. "I am Captain Jinwu of the human vessel New Soul. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us." Taman was impressed, despite himself. Most alien species required translation devices to speak Vexeran. This human had learned their language. "Captain Jinwu," the king replied, "your people intrigue us. You spread across the galaxy despite your limited technology. You establish colonies on worlds that would challenge more advanced species. We respect such determination. We appreciate your words. Your Majesty, humanity seeks peaceful relations with all civilized species." "Excellent, then you will be pleased by our proposal." Taman gestured toward a side door. "We offer a gift to demonstrate Vexeran friendship. Our own blood, shared with your people." Princess Nari entered the throne room. Ginwu turned to look at her, and she felt his gaze like a physical touch. Unlike the Vexeran males who looked at her with pity or disgust, this human studied her face with genuine curiosity. His eyes held no judgment, only interest. "This is Princess Nari, our youngest daughter," Taman announced. "We offer her to your people as a sign of our goodwill. She will accompany you to your colonies and serve as an ambassador of Vexeran culture." Nari kept her face blank, but inside she felt her heart sink. Her father spoke as if she were a piece of cargo to be shipped away. She had expected this day, but it still hurt to hear the words spoken aloud. Jinwu looked confused. "Your Majesty, we are honored by your offer, but I do not understand. You would send your daughter to live among strangers. She will be well cared for," Taman said quickly. "Consider her a living symbol of our alliance. Surely humans understand the value of royal blood." The human captain glanced at Nari again. This time she saw something unexpected in his expression. Anger, not at her, but at the situation. "At her father, Princess Nari," Jinwu said, addressing her directly. "What are your wishes in this matter?" The question shocked everyone in the room. No one had ever asked Nari what she wanted. Even she was surprised by the human's directness. She began, then stopped. What could she say? That she had no choice. That her father saw her as a failed investment to be discarded. "She is eager to serve," Taman interrupted harshly. "The matter is decided." Jinwu's jaw tightened, but he remained diplomatic. "Of course, Your Majesty." However, human custom requires that we speak privately with anyone who will join our crew. We must ensure they understand what life aboard our ships entails. Taemin frowned. He had not expected resistance to his generous offer. Very well, but make it brief. 10 minutes later, Nari found herself alone with Jinwoo in a small meeting room. The human sat across from her, his hands folded on the table between them. "Princess," he said quietly, "I want you to know that you have choices. If you come with us, you will be treated as an equal member of our community. Not as a gift or a symbol, but as a person with your own value and rights." Nari stared at him. "You speak strangely, Captain. I am infertile. In our society, that makes me worthless." "Our society," Jinwoo replied, "a person's worth is not determined by their ability to reproduce. We have scientists, artists, teachers, and leaders who have never had children. They contribute in other ways. You would really treat me as an equal. I would treat you as a human being deserves to be treated. With respect and dignity." For the first time in years, Nari felt something she had almost forgotten. "Hope then I accept," she said. "I will come with you to the human colonies." Jinwoo smiled, and Nari realized it was the first genuine smile anyone had given her in longer than she could remember. As they returned to the throne room to formalize the agreement, neither of them could imagine how this simple act of human decency would change the fate of both their species. The human ship New Seoul was nothing like the crystal palaces of Vexera. Princess Nari walked through narrow metal corridors that hummed with the sound of working machinery. The walls were painted white, but she could see patches and repairs everywhere. Everything looked used and practical rather than beautiful. "Your quarters are here," Princess Ginwoo said, stopping at a simple door. "I hope you find them comfortable." Nari entered the small room. It had a bed, a desk, and a viewing window that showed the stars outside. The space was clean, but tiny compared to her palace chambers. Yet something about it felt welcoming. "This is perfect," she said, surprising herself with how much she meant it. Jin-Woo smiled. "Dinner is served in the common room at 1800 hours. Everyone eats together on our ship. I hope you will join us." After he left, Nari sat on the bed and looked out at space. For the first time in her life, she was truly alone. Servants, no guards, no father, watching her every move. The feeling was both frightening and wonderful. 3 hours later, she made her way to the common room. She expected to find a formal dining hall like those in the palace. Instead, she discovered a large room filled with mismatched tables and chairs. Humans of all ages sat together, talking and laughing as they ate. Princess Nari called a woman with short black hair and kind eyes. "Please, sit with us. I am Dr. Hyjin, the ship's medical officer." Nari hesitated. On Vexera, royalty never mixed with common people, but these humans seemed genuinely happy to see her. She sat down at their table. "Tell us about your world," said a young engineer named Minho. "We have heard stories, but we want to hear the truth." Nari found herself talking about Vexera's crystal cities and floating gardens. The humans listened with real interest, asking questions that showed they respected her knowledge. No one treated her like a broken princess or a political gift. They simply wanted to learn. "Your people must be very advanced," Dr. Hyjin said. "Do you have much experience with medicine?" "Some," Nari replied. "I studied healing arts before." She stopped, not wanting to mention her infertility. "Before what?" the doctor asked gently. "Before I was declared useless," Nari said quietly. Table went silent. Then Minho spoke up. "That is impossible. Everyone has value. Everyone can contribute something." "Not if you cannot have children," Nari said bitterly. "In our society, that is all that matters for a female." Dr. Hyjin leaned forward. "Princess, would you be willing to let me examine you? I am curious about Vexeran biology. Perhaps our understanding of fertility is different from yours." Nari shook her head. "Many doctors have tried. The results are always the same, but no human doctor has tried," Dr. Hyjin said with a smile. "We might see things differently." The journey to New Busan took 2 weeks. During that time, Nari discovered what life was like among humans. She helped Minho repair damaged systems, learning about their creative approach to engineering. She watched Dr. Hyjin treat patients, seeing how humans cared for each other. Most importantly, she spent time with Jinwoo, learning about human philosophy and values. "We believe every person has something unique to offer," Jinwoo explained, as they sat in the observation deck, watching stars stream by. "Your father sees you as broken because you cannot do one specific thing. We see you as a person with many other abilities." "What abilities?" Nari asked. "I know some medicine and engineering, but nothing special. You speak 5 languages, you understand politics and diplomacy. You have knowledge of one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Most importantly, you have survived years of being told you were worthless, and you are still kind and curious about the world. That takes incredible strength." Nari felt tears in her eyes. No one had ever spoken to her this way. "Jinwoo," she said softly, "thank you for seeing me as more than my father's failure." "You were never a failure, Nari," Your father just could not see your true worth. When they arrived at New Busan, Nari was amazed by what she saw. The human colony was built into the side of a mountain, with terraced farms and gardens cascading. Down the slopes, the architecture was simple but elegant, designed to work with nature rather than dominate it. "Welcome to our home," Ginwoo said, as they walked through the colony's main street. "It is not as grand as Vexera, but it is ours." Nari watched children playing in the streets while their parents worked nearby. She saw old people sitting together, sharing stories and wisdom. Everyone seemed to have a place and purpose. "It is beautiful," she said. "Your people have created something wonderful here." Dr. Hyjin met them at the medical center. "Princess, I have prepared a full examination suite. If you are willing, I would like to study your biology in detail. Not to fix you, but to understand you." The examination took 3 days. Dr. Hyjin was thorough but gentle, explaining everything she was doing. Unlike the Vexeran doctors who had treated Nari like a specimen, the human doctor treated her like a partner in the research. "Your physiology is fascinating," Dr. Hyjin said on the 3rd day. "Vexeran biology is incredibly complex. Your reproductive system is unlike anything I have studied." "But it does not work," Nari said sadly. "Actually, I am not sure that is true. Your system appears to be dormant, not broken. It is as if it is waiting for the right conditions to activate." Nari sat up straighter. "What kind of conditions?" "I am not certain yet, but I have noticed changes in your body chemistry since you arrived here. Your stress hormones have decreased significantly. Your overall health markers are improving. It is possible that the environment on Vexera was preventing your reproductive system from functioning properly." "That seems impossible. Vexera is perfect. Our technology creates ideal living conditions." Dr. Hyjin smiled. "Perfect for machines, perhaps. But living beings are not machines. We need more than just perfect temperature and clean air. We need emotional connections, physical challenges, variety in our experiences. Your palace may have been technically perfect, but it was not biologically healthy." Over the following weeks, Nari threw herself into colony life. She helped upgrade their communication systems using Vexeran technology. She taught their children about other worlds and cultures. She worked in the gardens, getting her hands dirty for the first time in her life. Most importantly, she spent time with Gnu. They took long walks through the colony, talking about everything and nothing. She found herself laughing more than she had in years. The pain of her father's rejection began to fade, replaced by something new and wonderful. "I never knew life could be like this," she told Jinwoo one evening, as they watched the sunset from the colony's highest terrace. "I feel like I am finally becoming who I was meant to be." Jinwoo took her hand. "You were always who you were, meant to be, Nari. You just needed the right place to bloom." As the days passed, Nari began to hope for something she had never dared dream of before. A real future, built on her own choices and surrounded by people who valued her for who she was, not what she could produce. She had no idea that her body was already beginning to respond to this new life in ways that would shock both species. Dr. Hyjin stared at the test results displayed on her screen. She had run the analysis 3 times, but the numbers remained the same. After 2 months of studying Princess Naria's biology, she was seeing changes that should have been impossible. "Computer, display comparison data from initial examination," she commanded. The holographic display showed 2 sets of biological readings side by side. The differences were remarkable. Nari's hormone levels had shifted dramatically. Her reproductive system showed signs of activation that had been completely absent during her first examination. A knock at the laboratory door interrupted her thoughts. "Come in," she called. Nari entered, carrying a tray of tea. "I thought you might need this. You have been working very late recently." Dr. Hyjin accepted the cup gratefully. Over the past months, she and Nari had become close friends. The Vexeran princess had proven to be an eager student of human medicine, often helping with research and patient care. "Nari, I need to ask you some personal questions. How have you been feeling lately?" "Better than I have ever felt in my life," Nari replied without hesitation. "Why do you ask?" "Any physical changes, different energy levels, changes in sleep patterns?" Nari thought for a moment. "I sleep better here than I ever did on Vexera. I wake up feeling rested instead of tired. My appetite has improved, and ... She paused, looking embarrassed. "And what? I have been having strange dreams, very vivid ones. Is that normal?" Dr. Hyjin leaned forward with interest. "What kind of dreams?" "Dreams about children, about family, about a future I never thought I could have." Nari's cheeks turned a deeper shade of blue. "They feel so real that I wake up disappointed they are not true." Dr. Hyjin set down her teacup carefully. "Nari, I need to run another complete medical scan. The changes I am seeing in your test results are extraordinary." "What kind of changes?" "Changes that suggest your reproductive system is not only functional, but becoming highly active." Nari stared at her in shock. "That is impossible. Every doctor on Vexera confirmed that I am infertile." "Vexeran doctors," Dr. Hyjin corrected gently, "who understand Vexeran biology as it exists on Vexera, but you are not on Vexera anymore. The new examination took 6 hours. Dr. Hyjin used every piece of medical equipment in the colony, scanning Nari from multiple angles and analyzing tissue samples with techniques unknown to Vexeran science. Jinwoo arrived at the medical center. As the tests were finishing, "How is she?" he asked Dr. Hyjin privately. "Remarkable," the doctor replied. "I need to compile all the data, but initial results suggest that Nari was never truly infertile. Her reproductive system was suppressed by environmental and psychological factors." "What kind of factors?" "Stress. For one thing, the constant pressure to produce an heir, combined with repeated medical failures, created a cycle of anxiety that shut down her biological functions. The sterile environment of the royal palace also played a role. Vexeran technology creates perfect conditions for machines, but living beings need some level of natural variation to thrive." Jinwoo nodded thoughtfully. "So coming here changed her biology. More than that, the emotional support she has received, the physical activity, the sense of purpose and belonging, all of these things have triggered biological responses that were dormant on Vex. Her body is finally functioning the way it was designed to." "Are you saying she could have children?" Dr. Hyjin smiled. "I am saying she already could have children. Her fertility levels are now higher than the average for human females. The question is whether cross-species reproduction is possible." Jinwoo felt his heart skip a beat. "Cross-species? Captain, I have studied both human and Vexeran biology extensively. Our species are more compatible than anyone realized. The genetic structures are different but complementary. I believe offspring between humans and Vexerans is not only possible, but could result in individuals with advantages from both species." That evening, Jinwoo and Nari walked through the colony gardens as they did every night. The artificial sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, and the air was filled with the scent of growing things. "You seem distracted tonight," Nari observed. Jinwoo stopped walking and turned to face her. "Dr. Hyjin shared her test results with me." Nari's expression grew serious. "And Nari, you are not infertile. You never were. Your body was responding to the stress and environment on Vexera here. With proper conditions, your reproductive system has reactivated completely." Nari sat down heavily on a nearby bench. "I do not understand. How is that possible?" Jinwoo sat beside her. "Dr. Hyjin believes that Vexeran medical science made incorrect assumptions about your biology. They treated you like a machine that was broken, when you were actually a living being who needed the right conditions to flourish. But even if that is true, what does it matter? I am alone here, far from my own species." Jinwoo took her hand. "You are not alone, and Dr. Hyjin believes that human and Vexeran biology are compatible for reproduction." Nari looked at him with wide eyes. "You mean we could? We could have a family together, if that is what you want." Nari was quiet for a long time, staring at their joined hands. "Jinwoo, I have feelings for you that I never expected to have for anyone. But are you certain you want to take this risk? We do not know what kind of child we might create." "I know what kind of parents we would be," Jinwoo replied. "Loving, supportive, and dedicated to giving our child the best possible life. That is more important than genetics." "What about your people? Will they accept a half-Vexeran child?" Jinwoo smiled. "Our colony is made up of people from dozens of different cultures and backgrounds. We have learned to judge individuals by their character, not their appearance or origin. Our child will be welcomed with open arms." Nari felt tears running down her cheeks. "For so many years, I believed I was broken, worthless, unable to contribute anything meaningful to the world. And now I see that I was not broken. I was just in the wrong place, with the wrong people, living by the wrong values." She squeezed his hand. "Jinwoo, yes. I want to build a family with you. I want to create something beautiful together." 3 weeks later, Dr. Hyjin confirmed what they all suspected. Nari was pregnant. The news spread through the colony like wildfire, bringing congratulations and celebration from everyone. "How do you feel?" Dr. Hyjin asked as she reviewed the prenatal scans. "Terrified and excited and grateful all at the same time," Nari replied. "Is the baby healthy?" "More than healthy. The genetic combination is remarkable. Your child appears to be developing traits from both human and Vexeran ancestry, enhanced intelligence, improved physical capabilities, and what looks like an extended lifespan." Jinwoo stared at the image of their growing child. "This baby could bridge our two species. This baby will change everything." Dr. Hyjin agreed. "When word of this pregnancy reaches Vexera and Earth, both governments will want to study the implications." Nari placed her hand on her still flat stomach. "Let them study all they want. This child belongs to us, not to politicians or scientists." But even as she spoke, she knew that their peaceful life in the colony was about to become much more complicated. News of the first human Vexeran hybrid would travel fast, and she suspected her father would not be happy to learn that his worthless daughter was carrying what might be the most important child in galactic history. For now, though, she was content to sit with Jinwoo and dream about their future together. They had found love where none was expected, and created life where it was thought impossible. That was miracle enough for any lifetime. The news traveled faster than any spaceship could fly. Within days of Dr. Hygen's confirmation of Nari's pregnancy, every major communication network in human and Vexaran space was broadcasting the story. The headlines were dramatic and sensational. Impossible, pregnancy shocks, galaxy, infertile alien princess expects human child. First hybrid baby could change everything. Jinwoo stood in the colony's communication center, reading reports from across known space. His face grew more worried with each new article. The Earth government wants to send a research team, reported Minho, the colony's communications officer. They are calling this the most important biological development in human history. But about the Vexarans? Jinwoo asked. Radio silence from their empire, but our long-range sensors are picking up increased ship movements near their border worlds. Nari entered the communication center, her hand resting on her growing belly. At 4 months pregnant, she was beginning to show. Dr. Hygen's regular scans revealed a baby developing faster and stronger than either species normally produced. Any word from my father? She asked quietly. Jinwoo shook his head. Nothing official, but I suspect he knows. Dr. Hygen arrived with her latest scan results. The baby's development continues to exceed all expectations. Neural activity is already measurable, which should not happen for another month. Physical growth is accelerated but healthy. Most remarkably, the child appears to be developing enhanced abilities from both species. What kind of abilities? Nari asked. Improved cognitive function from the Vexaran side, enhanced adaptability and emotional intelligence from the human side. This child may be more capable than either of our species individually. Jinwoo studied the scan images. What about potential problems? So far, none. The genetic combination is surprisingly stable. Your son appears to be the best of both worlds, son. Nari's eyes lit up. We are having a boy. Dr. Hygen smiled. Yes, a perfectly healthy baby boy. Nari felt tears of joy running down her cheeks. Donghyan, she whispered. I want to name him Donghyan. It is a strong name, Jinwoo agreed, taking her hand. Our son will need strength for what lies ahead. His words proved prophetic. 2 days later, the colony's early warning systems detected a massive fleet approaching their system. The ships were sleek and crystalline, their hulls gleaming with Vexaran technology. 47 vessels, Minho reported from the defense center, including 3 royal battleships. It is the largest Vexaran fleet ever seen in human space. Jin activated the colony's communication array. Vexaran fleet. This is Captain Jinwoo of New Busan Colony. Please state your intentions. The reply came immediately. King Taemin's voice filled the communication center, cold and commanding. Captain Jinwoo, I am King Taemin of the Vexaran Empire. I have come for my daughter and grandchild. Prepare to transfer them to my flagship immediately. Nari stepped forward. Father, I am not coming back to Vexara. Daughter, you carry the future of our species in your womb. That child belongs to the Vexaran Empire. I will not allow primitive humans to steal our genetic heritage. This baby is not your property, Jinwoo interrupted. Nari chose to stay here, and she chose to start a family with me. We will not surrender our child to anyone. King Taemin's laugh was bitter. You think you have choices in this matter. I have enough firepower to reduce your pathetic colony to ash. Surrender my daughter and grandchild, or watch your people die. The communication ended abruptly. In the silence that followed, Jinwoo felt the weight of impossible decisions. The colony had minimal defenses against a single Vexaran ship, let alone an entire fleet. What do we do? Minho asked. Before Jinwoo could answer, Nari spoke firmly. We stand our ground. My father has spent his entire life taking what he wants through force. It is time someone said no to him. Nari, he could destroy us all. He could, she agreed. But he will not. That baby I carry is too valuable to risk in a battle. My father wants his grandchild alive and healthy, which gives us more power than he realizes. Dr. Hygen looked up from her medical scanner. Princess, your stress levels are spiking. This cannot be good for the baby. The baby is fine, Nari said, though she placed a protective hand on her belly. Dr. Hygen, what would happen if I returned to Vexara now? Your reproductive system would likely shut down again within weeks. The environment that suppressed your fertility before would do so again. You might lose the baby, and you would certainly never have another child. And if I stay here, your body is perfectly adapted to this environment now. You could have many healthy children. Nari nodded thoughtfully. Then my father faces a difficult choice. He can take me by force and watch his precious heir die slowly on Vexara, or he can leave me here where I can give him many grandchildren. You think he will see reason? Jinwoo asked. My father is many things, but he is not stupid. He will realize that cooperation serves his interests better than conquest. Over the next 3 days, the Vexaran fleet maintained position just outside the colony's orbital space. No shots were fired, but the tension was unbearable. Everyone in New Busan knew they were living under the threat of annihilation. Nari spent her time moving through the colony, talking to frightened families and reassuring children. Her calm presence helped keep panic at bay, but Jinwoo could see the strain wearing on her. "You should rest," he told her as they sat in their quarters on the third evening. "I cannot rest while my people are in danger because of me." "These are your people now," Jinwoo corrected gently, "and they do not blame you for this situation. They blame the man who threatens their families to get what he wants." Nari leaned against him, exhaustion finally showing. "Jinwoo, what if we cannot find a peaceful solution? What if my father decides to attack? Then we face whatever comes together. You, me, and our son." As if responding to his father's voice, the baby kicked strongly. Nari smiled through her tears. "He is going to be quite a fighter," she said. "He will have to be. The galaxy is going to be watching every move he makes." Outside their window, the Vexaran fleet hung in space like gleaming predators. But inside their small quarters, Jinwoo and Nari held each other and felt their child moving between them. Whatever tomorrow brought, they had already created something miraculous together. The first human Vexaran hybrid was growing stronger every day, and with him grew the hope for a future neither species had imagined possible. King Taemin stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the human colony through the viewing screen. The sight of the simple settlement made his rage burn hotter. These primitives had stolen his daughter and corrupted her with their backward ways. Now they dared to defy him. "Your Majesty," his advisor Bjorn said carefully, "perhaps we should consider negotiation rather than force." Taemin turned on him with fury. "Negotiation? They have taken my bloodline and poisoned it with their inferior genetics. That child should have been born to a proper Vexaran mate, ensuring the purity of our species. But Your Majesty, our birth rates continue to decline. Our medical officers report that fewer than 1 in 10 Vexaran couples can successfully reproduce. Perhaps this hybrid represents hope for our people." "Hope?" Taemin's voice rose dangerously. "That mongrel child represents the dilution of everything we have built. The Vexaran Empire has ruled through genetic superiority for 1,000 years. I will not watch it collapse because my worthless daughter spread her legs for an alien." Bjorn stepped back nervously. The king's anger had been growing worse each day since they received news of the pregnancy. Court physicians whispered that His Majesty was becoming unstable, but none dared say it aloud. "Open a channel to the colony," Taemin commanded. On New Busan, Jinwoo received the transmission in the colony's command center. Nari stood beside him, now 7 months pregnant and growing more beautiful each day, despite the stress of the situation. "Captain Jinwoo," King Taemin's voice filled the room. "I have been patient long enough. You will transfer my daughter and grandchild to my custody within 6 hours, or I will begin bombardment of your colony." "Your Majesty," Jinwoo replied calmly, "your daughter is free to make her own choices. She has chosen to remain here with her family." "Family?" Taemin laughed bitterly. "You call this abomination a family? My daughter was raised as royalty, educated in the finest schools, given every advantage our civilization could provide. And she throws it all away for what?" Love. Nari stepped forward, her hand resting on her swollen belly. "Yes, father, love, something I never found on Vexera. You were not meant to find love, daughter. You were meant to serve the Empire, to produce pure Vexaran heirs who would continue our bloodline. Instead, you have created a monster that will taint our genetic legacy forever." "This baby is not a monster," Nari said firmly. "This baby is your grandchild, and he will be born free to choose his own path in life. He will be born a slave to inferior genetics," Taemin snarled. "Human weakness will corrupt whatever Vexaran strengths he might have inherited. The child would be better off dead than living as a half-breed." The communication center fell silent. Even through the audio link, everyone could hear the shocked gasps from the Vexaran bridge crew. A king threatening to kill his own grandchild was beyond anything they had imagined. Jinwoo's voice was ice cold when he spoke. "Your Majesty, if you threaten our child again, this conversation is over. You dare give me ultimatums. I dare protect my family from anyone who threatens them, including you." Dr. Hyjin entered the command center, her face pale with urgency. "Captain, I need to speak with you immediately." Jinwoo muted the communication channel. "What is it?" "I have been monitoring Vexaran medical databases through our intelligence networks. Their fertility crisis is worse than we thought. In the last 50 years, their birth rate has dropped by 70%. Their species is dying out." Nari looked shocked. "That cannot be true. Vexera seemed so prosperous when I lived there." "Prosperous but sterile," Dr. Hyjin continued. "Their pursuit of genetic perfection has created a population that can barely reproduce. They are desperate for any solution, even if they will not admit it publicly." Jinwoo reactivated the communication channel. "Your Majesty, we know about your species' fertility problems. Your anger is not really about genetic purity, is it? You are afraid. I fear nothing, especially not from primitives like you. You fear that your empire is dying, and you cannot save it. You fear that your daughter found a solution you never could. You fear that humans might be better at something than Vexorans. The silence that followed lasted nearly a minute. When Taman spoke again, his voice was quieter, but no less dangerous. My fleet will begin bombardment in 4 hours. You have that long to surrender my daughter and grandchild. The channel closed abruptly. In the command center, Jinwoo turned to face the assembled colonists who had gathered during the conversation. You all heard the king's ultimatum, he said. I will not ask anyone to die for our family. If you want to evacuate, now is the time. An elderly woman named Sunya stepped forward. Captain, that baby Nari carries represents hope for both our species. We will not abandon that hope because of one angry old man. Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Minho spoke for many when he said, we stand with you, Captain. All of us. Nari felt tears running down her cheeks. You would risk your lives for us. Princess Sunya replied, you have been one of us for almost a year now. You helped build our homes, taught our children, and cared for our sick. This is your home, and we protect our family. Dr. Hyjin stepped forward with a new determination. Captain, I have an idea. What if we could prove to King Taman that cooperation benefits his people more than conquest? How do we do that? We show him the medical data. All of it, and PLT, not just about Neris pregnancy, but about what caused the Vexoran fertility crisis and how human social structures could help solve it. Jinwoo looked skeptical. You think he would listen to human medical advice? I think he would listen to the truth, if it meant saving his species from extinction. Nari suddenly doubled over, gasping in pain. Dr. Hyjin rushed to her side, scanning her with a medical tricorder. What is it? Jinwoo asked in alarm. The stress is triggering early labor, Dr. Hyjin said urgently. We need to get her to the medical bay immediately. As they helped Neri toward the door, she grabbed Jinwoo's arm. The baby cannot be born while my father threatens us. The stress hormones could harm him. What do you want me to do? End this standoff. One way or another, end it now. Jinwoo looked at his wife's pain-filled face, then at the worried colonists surrounding them. Outside, 47 Vexoran warships waited to rain death on their small settlement. Inside, the most important child in galactic history was fighting to be born. The time for half measures was over. Jinwoo activated the emergency broadcast system that would transmit his next words to every human and Vexoran vessel within 50 light-years. King Taman, he said, his voice carrying across space to both fleets. Your grandchild is about to be born. You can be remembered as the king who destroyed the future of both our species, or as the leader who helped create something greater than either of us could achieve alone. The choice is yours, but you have 1 hour to decide. In the medical bay, Nari gripped his hand as another contraction hit. Time was running out for everyone. Dr. Hyjin worked frantically in the medical bay as Neris labor progressed faster than expected. The stress of the confrontation with her father had triggered premature delivery. But the baby seemed determined to enter the world despite the dangerous circumstances. Jinwoo Nari gasped between contractions. Promise me something, anything. If my father attacks, if something happens to us, make sure our son knows that he was created from love, not politics. Nothing is going to happen to any of us, Jinwoo said firmly, though his own fear was evident. Our son is going to grow up safe and free. Outside the medical bay, Minho's voice echoed through the colony's communication system. Captain, the Vexoran fleet is powering up their weapons. We have maybe 20 minutes before they open fire. Dr. Hyjin looked up from her medical scanners. The baby is coming now. I cannot stop the delivery. Jinwoo activated his personal communicator. Minho, transmit everything we have about Vexoran fertility research on all frequencies. Medical data, social analysis, everything Dr. Hyjin has compiled. Make sure it reaches not just King Taman but every ship in his fleet. Captain, that information is classified medical research. Not anymore, send it all. Across space, the data stream reached the Vexoran flagship. King Taman stood on his bridge, reading the human medical reports with growing disbelief. The information painted a picture of his civilization that he had refused to see. Your Majesty, his chief physician said quietly, these findings appear to be accurate. Our own suppressed studies show similar patterns. The reports detailed how Vexoran society's obsession with genetic purity had created a closed breeding system that was slowly destroying their reproductive capabilities. Generations of arranged marriages between genetically similar individuals had weakened their fertility. The sterile, controlled environment of Vexoran worlds provided perfect conditions for technology but terrible conditions for biological health. Most damaging was the psychological analysis. Human research showed that Vexoran females in particular required emotional bonding and stress-free environments to achieve successful pregnancy. The political pressure and constant medical monitoring that defined royal reproduction actively prevented conception. This is impossible, Taman said, but his voice lacked conviction. Our civilization is the most advanced in the galaxy. Advanced in technology, Your Majesty, Borim said carefully, but perhaps we have forgotten that we are still biological beings with biological needs. On the medical scanner, Another piece of data caught Taemin's attention. Nari's fertility had not just returned on the human colony, it had improved beyond normal Vexarin levels. Her hormone balance, stress indicators, and overall health showed dramatic improvement within months of leaving Vexora. Your Majesty, came a voice from the communication station. We are receiving a transmission from the colony medical bay. Dr. Hyjin's face appeared on the main screen, her medical scanner visible beside her. King Taemin, I am Dr. Hyjin, Chief Medical Officer of New Busan Colony. Your daughter is in active labor. Your grandchild will be born within minutes. Why are you telling me this? Because you have a choice to make. You can destroy this colony and lose your grandchild forever, or you can witness the birth of hope. For both our species, the screen split to show real-time medical data from Naris delivery. Taemin found himself staring at readings that showed a perfectly healthy baby with enhanced capabilities from both human and Vexarin genetics. The child's neural development is 40% above normal Vexarin standards. Dr. Hyjin continued. Physical capabilities are enhanced by human adaptability, genes. This baby represents evolutionary advancement, not genetic contamination. Your Majesty, his science officer reported. Long-range sensors confirmed the medical data. The child's biological readings are remarkable. Nari's voice came through the communication system, strained but strong. Father, your grandson is about to be born. He can be the first of a new generation that saves both our peoples, or he can die in the fire of your weapons. What legacy do you want to leave? On the medical scanner, the baby's heartbeat was strong and steady. Taemin watched the readings, remembering when Nari herself had been born 28 years ago. He had held her in his arms and sworn to protect her future. Now he was threatening to destroy it. Your Majesty, Bioram whispered. Our own population projections show complete reproductive failure within 3 generations. This hybrid child might be our only hope. Taemin closed his eyes, feeling the weight of his empire's future pressing down on him. Everything he had believed about genetic superiority was crumbling before the evidence of human success, where Vexarin science had failed. Dr. Hyjin's voice became urgent. The baby is crowning. King Taemin, your grandson is about to enter the world. Power down weapons, Taemin commanded quietly. Your Majesty, his weapons officer asked in confusion. Powered down all weapons immediately. On New Busan, the colonists watched their sensors as the Vexarin fleet's energy signatures dropped to minimal levels. Cheers erupted throughout the settlement, but Jinwoo remained focused on the medical bay. Push Nari, Dr. Hyjin encouraged. One more push. With a final effort that seemed to draw on strength from both her species, Nuri brought her son into the world. The baby's cry filled the medical bay, strong and healthy. He is perfect, Dr. Hyjin announced, holding up the newborn. Completely healthy, all systems functioning normally. Jinwoo stared at his son in wonder. The baby had Nara's pale blue skin, but with a warmer tone that spoke of human heritage. His eyes, when they opened, showed intelligence that seemed to look right through his father. Hello, Dongjun, Jinwoo whispered. Welcome to the galaxy. King Taemin watched the birth through the communication link, seeing his grandson for the first time. The child was beautiful, clearly carrying the best traits of both species. Dr. Hyjin, he said formally, what are your recommendations for ensuring the child's health and development? Continued residence in an environment that supports both parents' biological and emotional needs. She replied without hesitation. This colony provides optimal conditions for hybrid children to thrive, and for future children. Your Majesty, if Princess Nari remains here, she could have many healthy children. If she returns to Vexora, her reproductive system will likely shut down again within weeks. Taemin was quiet for a long moment. Finally he spoke. Captain Jinwoo, I propose a different arrangement than the one I came here to enforce. I am listening. Instead of taking my daughter home, I want to establish a joint research colony here. Vexarin scientists will work with human medical personnel to study the conditions that enable successful hybrid reproduction. Other Vexarin females experiencing fertility problems will be invited to participate. Jinwoo looked at Nari, who nodded weakly but firmly. We would welcome such cooperation, Jinwoo replied, but the participants must come voluntarily and they must be treated as equals, not test subjects. Agreed, Dr. Hyjin, would you be willing to head this joint research program? Your Majesty, I would be honored. 3 months later, the joint colony was thriving. 12 Vexarin couples had volunteered for the program, and early results showed significant improvement in fertility rates. The less stressful environment and human social practices were having remarkable effects on Vexarin biology. Nari sat in the colony gardens, nursing little Dong Hyen while watching other children play nearby. Some were human, some were Vexarin, and a few were hybrids like her son. They played together without regard for species differences, creating friendships that would shape the future of both civilizations. Jinwoo joined her on the bench, carrying reports from the latest medical studies. How are the results? Nari asked. Better than anyone hoped. The Vexarin birth rate in our colony is already 10 times higher than on their homeworld. Dr. Hyjin thinks we have found the key to solving their fertility crisis. And my father, still struggling with the idea that humans might have something valuable to teach Vexorans, but he cannot argue with success. Nari smiled, looking down at her son. Dongyan had grown quickly, showing signs of enhanced development. From both species, his eyes tracked movement with unusual precision, and he responded to voices in both human and Vexoran languages. What do you think he will become? She asked. Whatever he chooses to be, Jinwu replied. That is the gift. We can give him the freedom to make his own path. As the sun set over New Busan, the first truly integrated human Vexoran colony, children's laughter filled the air. The sound carried hope for a future where cooperation had triumphed over conquest, where love had proven stronger than politics, and where humanity's greatest strength, their ability to see value in others, had saved two species from the consequences of their own limitations. Little Donghyun slept peacefully in his mother's arms, unaware that he was the living symbol of that hope.